Are you ready with your cup of coffee or chai or even hot water? Hey Deepa, good morning. So, I'm going to wait, as always, for a few more to join. Hi Nayan. Hi Srimati. So nice to have your friends join in. Hey, that's my sister. Hey Rekha. Hey Deepa. Vinod Kishan. Yes, hi sister. Arya. I think Delhi is still chill. Chennai is wondering whether it should become hotter. And hi, Srimati, hi. And Bombay, I'm not sure. So today our guest is from Bombay. So we'll ask her. And all right, I think I will add her to the live very soon. But before that, I want to tell you all what my appa always believed in. He said everybody can cook. You know, my mother was a terrific cook, and he said everybody can cook. That's not. But when your amma cooks, that's how appa would say. When your amma cooks, there's a lot of love in it, lots of passion. So I am so thrilled to invite my cousin today from Bombay, who's a passionate cook, who's an amazing food Instagrammer. So without much ado, I'm going to add her to the call. Sent you a request, Deepa. I'm just waiting for Deepa Ravi. Yay! Hi!
Hi.
Hi, Deepa.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
I can. Perfect. Super.
Awesome.
Hi, Namita. The sensation Nami has joined. Janaki, my Janaki of triples. She has also joined. So, Deepa, how can
Yes.
I introduce you? I wanted to introduce you as that person who has this most amazing grid on Instagram. Okay, you can go and see that she has the the food. I think more than of course, the taste is primary, but you have to also present it beautifully. And I would like to start with a quote of Thomas Keller, who's an American restaurateur and cook and chef and everything. He said a recipe has no soul. You as the cook must bring soul to the recipe. So
Oh,
Deepa,
wow.
yeah, on that note, so how was your childhood? Was it always like this? Were you very passionate about food?
Um, to be honest, I've heard horror stories of me running around the house, covering my mouth, refusing to eat, which I find very hard to believe because now I live for food. And but it wasn't, like extraordinary food being cooked at home or anything like that. But whatever was cooked with a lot of love because my mom was a working woman,
Yes.
and so she had a very busy life.
Mm.
So she really didn't, devote that much time and energy into cooking a huge variety of dishes. But whatever was cooked was extremely nutritious, healthy, and very tasty. But my party, my
Mm.
grandmother,
Mm.
she was a cook extraordinaire,
Oh.
and she inculcated in me much later in life the concept of going that extra step to make something from an ordinary to something special, with those little touches.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing was too much trouble for her,
Mm.
and so that is something I think I took away from her, having spent a lot of time with her.
Mm. That's
So
so
those are.
beautiful. I mean, you said it, Deepa, that you just have something as simple as, in some houses, the breakfast is not such a big deal. But then you take something really simple like the poha, and you make it extraordinary because you garnish it with something, or you just
Exactly.
present it differently, and
That little
I
squeeze of lime, that little garnish of coconut and coriander leaves, it just elevates a simple poha from, being a simple poha to something that people will, always remember.
So I remember mommy, she was a worker, and she was like, she was such a amazing teacher. There were so many students, and also, was it always that, it was a hurried breakfast, lunch? I mean, in Bombay, you had to, Bombay taught me the value of time. So how was
Yes.
that? Was it because you had to go to school, mama had to go to office? How was it? I mean, was it always hurried, and did you have a meal together?
That's a very interesting question because it was utter chaos in the morning. Because my mom taught in the same school as I studied,
Okay.
and so we both had to leave by before 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock was the first bell. So before that, she had to prepare. We weren't really big on breakfast till I was in school. So we would have some breakfast item for the break,
Mm-hmm.
and she would finish the prep for the lunch and leave for work. And as soon as she came back, she would finish, preparing the lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But it was once I was like 11 or 12, it was my duty because I would reach home before her. So I had to make 5 chapatis every day as soon
Mm-hmm.
as I came from school. So three for her and two for me, and so that was a routine, So it was very hectic, and but she managed it, and I've been a homemaker, and when I think back, I really wonder how she pulled it all together and kept it together, because it was amazing. She had school, she had tuitions, she had corrections, and it was a crazy life.
So you brought on a very important aspect of prepping. So I think my sister Rekha always says for her the tension is not in the cooking. The stress is in the planning of the menu, and so how do you get that prep thing going? I mean, do you also is there stressful days for you also? We'll come to your journey, but just planning the menu.
Uh, to be very honest, I've been very lucky because I've been a stay-at-home mom. So, yeah, we did run a daycare center for the longest time, for 16 years. And it used to be a little hectic, but it's not like I had to go somewhere to work. My daycare was just one floor below, so it was a very short commute to work. And so I had time on my hands. That was something that worked in my favor.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, but I agree. The prep is something that is tantamount. When you are planning a meal, and when you say prep, it's not just about the chopping of vegetables or grinding the masala. You need to have everything in your pantry, to be able to
Yeah.
plan the meal. So shopping also goes into it. So there's a lot of planning that goes around, goes into getting a meal ready. If you want it just the way you thought of it, you have to have everything on hand. So that is, for me, it's very important. I always have extra of everything rather than not have something. So I'm a little mild OCD in that.
So in when we were all growing up, we also took very easily to a lot of street food.
Yes.
We used to just absolutely at home, and there was, I don't know if we really thought about hygiene and everything. It was a given, right? That pani puri, and
Absolutely.
so how did street food, I mean, what kind of a role did it play in your life?
Huge, huge role because I mean, when you grow up in Mumbai
Yeah.
and you go to college in South Mumbai,
Yes.
the opportunities for street food are enormous.
Ah.
And where I studied in Nirmala Niketan College of Home Science, and from CST, you had to cross Maidan and Oval, not
Mm.
Oval, cross Maidan and the other Maidan. And
Mm.
between that, there was a cow gully.
Mm.
So, it was always in your face. And on the way back from college, obviously you're hungry, and if you haven't had a bite to eat in the canteen, Cow Gully was always there. And we grew up eating the Bombay sandwich and the
Yes.
bhel and the pani puri, the pav bhaji, and we never gave a thought to hygiene or where his ingredients are coming from.
Mm.
And actually, if it wasn't for the pandemic,
Yeah.
I still don't really, give too much thought to it. I mean, till the pandemic started, we were still eating street food, with great gusto. I mean, a pani puri is something
Yeah.
that's an emotion. Just to use a cliche, I mean, it's a very much used cliche, but it's
Yeah.
true. Like all cliches, it's true, and you just can't get. I mean, more is less. It's like that.
Yeah.
So pani puri is something that I really miss,
Yeah.
and it never turns out the same if you make it at home. To be very
No. Yeah.
honest, I mean, I don't know what goes into it, but it's never quite the same.
Agree. So, for you, Deepa, now food has become an emotion, right? Am I right in saying so?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So, can you tell us how did it all begin? I mean, now that we know your childhood and how you generally, I mean, like all of us, we grew up and, but how did your journey with that emotion with food actually begin?
I would really, as I said, when I was really young, I wasn't really into food,
Yeah.
or so I've heard.
Mm.
But when I studied home science,
Mm.
we had cooking practicals.
Mm.
So we learned a lot of recipes of food which I hadn't even heard of. We baked a lot and we cooked a lot of European dishes, a
Mm.
lot of regional Indian dishes which I had never eaten before.
Mm.
So that kind of opened a bit of my vision. And also, when I was working, I worked as a merchandiser for about 7 years.
Mhm.
And we would take our, buyers from all over the world. We would take them out for lunch to,
Ah.
nice places to eat. And that also kind of, it made me explore a lot of new cuisines. And I'd like to give a lot of credit to my father,
Mm.
who encouraged me from a very young age, much against the wishes of my mother, to
Ah.
eat meat and seafood.
Mm.
So that kind of it opens up a whole new world of food over there. So I wasn't restricted to just vegetarian food, and luckily I've raised my sons also in a similar way. So food is something that one doesn't have to be judgmental about,
Yeah.
and you just have to go and explore it. You either like it or you don't, but you
Don't.
have to give it a chance. That's the
Mm.
thing. So I'm always up for a challenge, and it doesn't always go right when I order something, but I have more hits than misses.
So, how did the entire Instagram journey begin?
That's a story which I love to tell
Okay.
because I think 3 years ago, three and a half years ago, my older son he left India to study abroad, and I decided to rediscover myself because I was feeling a little adrift once he left, and so I started Instagram. And also to check on what he's doing on Instagram. So that's how it started. But eventually I realized that I really enjoy the process of, cooking. I always used to enjoy cooking. So if you are able to share that with a group of people who are like-minded, it gave me a lot of pleasure, and I discovered Instagram at a stage when I had time on my hands. I didn't have little kids to take care of, or I was relatively free at that time. So one thing led to another. I connected with a lot of wonderful people and got a lot of support and love. So, it became a fun place to be. It was my hangout without ever having to leave the house. So it's like a huge family, and I'm so grateful for the support I've received over the years.
So beautifully you said, because I think it is a family, and especially when I see your grid, the kind of collaborations you have done. So initially you would have started, you would have been surprised. Arey, people seem to like what I saw. What did Instagram push you to do? Where did it actually motivate you, and what kind of were you kind of adventurous?
Uh, I would say that I have consciously tried to work on my strengths
Mm,
and develop my own brand.
mm.
I mean, if you see in fact, just yesterday, someone said that even among thousands of pictures, if I see your pic, I know it is Deepa's.
Oh,
So
lovely.
yeah, so that was like really amazing because I have a particular style of shooting the food and presenting it in a particular way,
Mm,
and I've stuck to that because it works for me.
mm.
And so I think that's very important. And The journey has been full of learning, because there is so much of sharing of resources.
Yeah.
People share their recipes, they share their tips and tricks, how to get that dish just right.
Mm.
And it's a very open community, So it's been a huge learning experience. There are some dishes which I tried out, and it was a revelation for me,
Mm.
Simplest of ingredients, but so much bang for your buck. So it was wonderful.
So I have somebody who is Arun Raj saying that yes, I can spot Deepa's photos. She completely agrees with you, and
Hi,
I.
Arundhati.
So when you start shooting, I mean, is there a lot of stress, Deepa? I've always wondered. First you have to get the ingredients right, first you have to get the process right, then you have to cook, then you have to make it look good, because sometimes let's not fool ourselves. Sometimes cooking can be messy. I mean, it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah. And it's but then you have this tension to, oh my god, I have to get. So does that get to you sometimes, Deepa?
Of course it does. Uh, the disasters never make it to the feed, do they?
What happens to
So
the
that
disasters?
uh, 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 it's not that bad because I've had a lot of years to get it kind of right, but it's never junked away. But we grit our teeth and eat it.
Yes, yes. Okay, anyway, all
But
right.
yes, it's a whole process. Luckily, I've kept it quite simple in the sense that I use what I have. I don't have to think too much about which props to use and what lighting to use. I always use natural daylight, which is why you will never see dinner photos in my feed because I don't like the way my camera,
Okay.
uh, uh, processes nighttime photography. And so daylight works best. And in Mumbai, there is no dearth of daylight.
Mm.
And I use whatever I have, In fact, all my mother's silverware is now getting its moment in the sun. so to speak,
So
because of
nice.
Instagram. Otherwise it was just lying inside. And so it's better to keep it simple. At least that works for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, we do have some things which go horribly wrong,
Yeah.
and you just move on. It's a learning experience. That's all.
So, when we were all growing up, Deepa, I still remember my amma having her copy of Samaitupar by Meenakshi Ammal. So, I
Yes,
read a blog by Meera Ganapati saying that, whenever people, at that age in 1970s and all, when women went abroad, the one thing that was definitely there in their suitcase was Samaitapar. And she talks about
yes,
her mother Samaitapar coming back to her, with turmeric, laced pages and certain things. But it was, she also says that it was a little stern because she was very correct in terms of that this is how it had to be done. And her family was a family of four, so everything was for four. In fact, coffee, she says, she even has a page for coffee which talks about the second decoction. I mean, this is
okay,
so beautiful. I mean, I remember, because I think the second decoction is for all those South Indians and people who really enjoy their filter coffee will be able to understand what
yes,
I'm saying. The first one is really the thick one. The second one, is kind of, and at that time we used to call it katan kapi. My appa used to say. I mean, now we call it americano, and can I have a dash of milk in my? but
yeah,
but so did you have something like this, like a recipe book or something because see, Instagram came in later, but did you
much
have?
later.
Yeah. So how did
I
those?
have a copy of Samaitapar, but it's in
Wonderful.
English because I can't read Tamil. It is
Correct.
literally translated to cook and
Who can
see.
see?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And like I recently posted, my mom had gifted a book of Dakshin by Chandra Padmanabhan when I
Okay.
got married. It was
Okay.
her copy and she gave it to me.
Ah.
And apart from that, we had a set of cookery books, which came with various pressure cookers which we had purchased over the years,
Okay. Okay.
and
Correct.
some
Correct.
Tarla Dalal books
Yeah. Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all that I got it from my mother, and even now I like to browse through it. And having been digital for some years, it's so refreshing to go back to the analog
Ah.
phase, to actually browse through pages. And there will be some remnants of marks of your previous cooking experiences on the pages, like you said. And it'll trigger memories,
Memories.
and so that's the most beautiful thing. You can never get that when you're browsing on the net. A hard copy is special in every which way. I mean, call me old fashioned or whatever.
No.
I
No.
don't know if the millennials will be able to understand that, but our generation, I know for a fact, a lot of us love, browsing through the old cookery books or acquiring new ones also.
Yeah, no, I
So
completely
yes,
agree. But I think to speak about the millennials, at least I can speak about my daughter, of course, who loves, I mean, anybody who says, can I get you a gift? She only asks for a cookbook. And,
hmm.
I think she has that passion shows through because she takes out that book. She spends a lot of time reading, rereading the recipe. And then, it's kept in its beautiful place, when no turmeric can go anywhere
Okay.
near it. So the Ottolenghi and those books, and whenever there is a book announced, she's
Wow.
the first one. She saves up money to buy that expensive book. So I'm very happy that and she of course posts on Instagram. So I think it's a very nice
Yes, I
balance.
have seen her wonderful jar salads,
Yeah,
which were a huge inspiration for me too. When I started off, I used to follow her at that time. I think that was her old page.
page. Yeah,
Uh,
correct. Yeah,
yeah.
and I think it was
So
more on Facebook and
yeah,
not on
yeah,
Instagram. But
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
when these you spoke about something very beautiful. It's about these food triggering memories, you know. I mean, there's so much that, you know, that one swath of that laddu will take you to maybe a prasad, or maybe
Absolutely.
some kalyanam, some function that you relate to. I relate the karivapilai, curry leaves chutney to a certain event, you know. So these kind of things happen. So when you started Instagram, when you did you have a kind of a focused saying that I want to grow my page like this, or was it just what you felt and that is what you did?
It was nothing of the sort. I could probably spin a yarn saying, yeah, I had a vision or something. I had absolutely no vision.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a time pass kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it grew on me, you know.
Correct.
Over a period of time, you start interacting with newer and newer people,
Mm-hmm.
and you see what work they are doing. In fact, you see my initial pics. I cringe when I see the kind of pics and the posts I was
Yeah.
putting up. But it's a journey, you know. You
Yeah.
start somewhere and then you
Correct.
progress from there, you know. So that's what it's all about.
Oh.
And so I had absolutely no idea about hashtags. I didn't even know what hashtags were. I was
Mm-hmm.
total ignoramus actually when I started. And but you learn, you keep your eyes and ears open, and you see what others are doing,
Mm-hmm.
and you always can take away, you know, what works for you from other people, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, having said that, I think it's very important to keep the integrity of what you embody regarding food on your page. You know, it
Beautiful.
never works if you're going to style yourself, uh, you know, as per someone you admire. You
Mm.
can admire them, and but you have to have your own
Yeah.
way of doing things so that you have a certain identity on this very saturated space.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that is very important.
And you have always believed in going back to the roots. Tell us something about it, you know. So how did that happen?
Yeah, that was you know, it happened in the last couple of years where I saw a lot of people you know, exploring their own regional cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And I realized that there is so much more to Palakkad food
Mm-hmm.
apart from the overly done avial and sambar and olan. There is a whole world of recipes out there, you know, which we don't really make on a regular basis. So that got me to exploring, you know, YouTube, and my go-to person on YouTube for Palakkad recipes is Kaveri Amma,
Kaveri Amma,
and
yeah.
yeah, and I loved her presentation. I mean, she just keeps it very simple,
Simple.
and it always looks extremely delicious. And her recipes are so fail safe. I have tried so many of her recipes,
Mm.
and they always turn out fantastic. Unfortunately, she's not on Instagram.
Yeah.
Others, I would be crediting a lot of my posts to her, but she's not on Instagram. But she's amazing. And there's also Agraharam recipes, which I love.
Yeah.
She also explores a lot of Tambram cuisine.
Yeah.
So, you know, these are resources which one should tap so that, you know, where you come from is very important
Yeah.
to, you know, discover where you're going. So it's all comes back full circle, you know. I mean, when I grew up, I never liked Molagutal. I never really liked our traditional food. But today, 2 3 days, if I don't go without you know, our traditional
Food.
food, I kind of feel the you know, withdrawal symptoms. So I guess it's a sign of aging or what, I don't know. But one comes back to what one has eaten growing up, you know, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
comfort in that.
And it also is also a lot to do with the support you have, someone who is there to appreciate your food, right? Because ultimately, you know, we're all there and we might say no, 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 I cook for myself and all, but hello, we want
Absolutely.
good food to be appreciated. I still remember my amma will always be she'll pray before she's cooks for this whole lot of people, and she'll keep on saying, I hope it comes right. And I used to get irritated. I say, Amma, but you're such a fantastic cook. Why do you say that? Now I realize, it's like every time is like she approached it as if she was doing it for the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you have Ravi and the boys and Appa appreciating your food, right? Otherwise,
Yes, and that is very important. I mean, I'm sure it may sound a bit regressive, but it's very important to, be appreciated for what you're doing,
absolutely.
because there's a lot of effort that goes into it.
Yeah,
And if at the end of the day, people are just going to eat and walk away as if it's just another meal of the
correct.
day,
Yeah.
uh, you can't sustain that enthusiasm. You have
Yeah.
to be able to, yeah,
So true.
because you need that feedback, and you need both feedback. If it's not up to scratch, also you need to hear it. And if it's awesome, you also need to hear that. So, you kind of want to bring your A game to it every single time.
And how do these collabs happen? What kind of collaborations have you been doing? Because I see a complete highlight only for collaborations on your
Yeah, yeah.
feed.
Uh, that was something very recent. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to, host a collab,
Mm-hmm.
but some good friends of mine on Instagram invited me, and I knew them from their work, and I had a little bit of comfort level working with them,
Okay.
and it was such a breeze to work with them, and it was such fun because
Mm-hmm.
we had a huge amount of participation, and it helps you grow also in terms of numbers, and it gets you a lot of engagement for the host and the participants. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a win-win for everyone, So today everyone is thinking up of creative ways to beat the Instagram algorithm, which keeps
Correct.
your numbers low. So you have to keep up the creative way of getting people involved in what you're doing, which is how you can grow on Instagram. That is very important. So it's been fantastic. I've had I did the Tambram food collab,
Mm-hmm.
and then we did the
Yes,
Margari cook and
Margari. Yes.
sing
Yeah.
collab,
Yeah.
and then recently we had a seed challenge. So,
Okay.
and then there was the dosa
Dosa.
marathon.
Ah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so it was great fun, and the response was so good, so fantastic, and we couldn't keep up with the response. It was like that, it was so good, and so it makes it very exciting to be part of that space. But you have to have very like-minded hosts. That's very important, so that we're all on the same page in regard to how we promote it and how we take it forward. So that's very important.
So when you also these kind of farmer markets that happen, no, now there are these microgreens and all that. I know you have a cutie little kitchen garden. Uh, you know, uh,
It's there and it's not there. I'll be very honest. I'm
yeah.
a serial killer where plants are concerned.
No, because going back to the roots is also that, right? Not just the recipes, but also homegrown ingredients. Because now you don't know which one is the real one, because this, in the name of organic, you unless and until you've really studied that space, it's
Yeah.
difficult to figure out. So how do you have people approaching you and asking you to, use those kind of microgreens and say use it
Well,
and
I
all?
haven't used microgreens so far, but
Okay.
I had the good fortune of promoting organic rice from BioBasics.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So they sent me about 6 or 7 varieties of indigenous rice,
Lovely.
various, very almost unheard of rice varieties. And I had the most fun creating recipes using those rice variants. and they were so fantastic. I look forward to ordering from them because it's a real game changer. You know, the taste, because we are so used to using the generic kolam rice
Correct,
or
correct.
the generic basmati rice.
Mm.
These are like a totally different ball game altogether. And the taste that you get with these indigenous rice, which are grown in very small quantities, they're not mass produced.
Mm.
So it makes a huge difference, you know, and it was so awesome, so awesome.
Mm-hmm. And see, when you speak about these homegrown and all, it's not just getting that. I know you spoke about planning and all, presenting that, and you yourself spoke about that. You know, you did not really know how to take those photographs. I mean, you cringe, but in the food space also, you need to keep upskilling yourselves, right?
Yes, definitely. You need to upscale yourself in the sense that uh, there is always something new happening on
Yeah,
the food photography scene.
correct.
So while I may not have those kind of mad skills,
Hmm.
but you learn that if you keep something in a certain way, it gets accentuated.
Hmm.
You add those
Yeah,
little
correct.
extras to a plate so that it looks a little more colorful. And the plate should not have any empty spaces. It
Wow.
kind of takes away from the food because immediately you'll go to the empty space. The line of vision has to flow very beautifully on all the items that you have cooked. So the flow of your line of vision is very important. So you place it in a certain way so that people are able to take in whatever you've made, but
Hmm.
not go into something where you never really intended for them to look.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
yeah.
important.
That's so beautiful, Deepa. Cheers to that. Cheers to not creating
Yes,
empty spaces and to filling in all
yes,
those empty spaces. You know what I have really got out of our conversation today, Deepa? What stands out for me is the fact that you said your page should embody what you stand for. So for all those
yes.
people who are listening in and who will be watching the IGTV later, I think that is such a wonderful takeaway. Yes, you create stories in your frame. That's right. I think Deepa
Thanks,
creates stories.
Monica.
See, this is the problem. I only know the handle, so you know them by name. So I think Delectable Reveries. She was also there.
Varnika. Hi,
Yeah,
Varnika. Nice to have you here.
so what I'm really taking away is food, like pani puri, of course, is an emotion. And unless and until
Absolutely.
you invest, I think emotion also, you need to invest a lot of positive time, positivity, and let's not copy anybody else. I mean, we have our roots to
Absolutely.
go back to. Each one of you who's watching this will have that one memory of, I mean, every dish will be a memory, and every memory, I always believe, is a story worth sharing, because I think that is what makes us, and that is why we are such foodies. And when, I mean, food is something that, we just love. I mean, that is
Yes.
why I think to eat is a necessity, but to eat intelligently is an art. Where I started with Thomas Keller's quote, I think that really helps us, because I think when we have food on our plate, and the fact that we appreciate, and we appreciate not only the food but the person who's made that with so much
Exactly.
love and care. And thank you so much, Deepa. It was such a wonderful, to understand
Likewise.
what food means to you, and what food means to all those people who actually painstakingly go there, cook. It's not easy. It's not at all easy,
No.
cooking and then presenting it and then making sure that it's all right. Maybe just then, the light suddenly goes off, or there's something else, or some other child in your home is asking for something else, and you're saying, let me just take a picture. There's so much of stress, but let's not take
I mean, I've
stress.
had instances where I've plated everything,
Okay.
and as I was taking a picture, I noticed there are splash marks on the katori. So I had to take it back. clean it up, because it's going to show on the photograph, and it will take away from all the effort that's gone into
Yeah.
it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And having said all that, when you're very invested in this, it's also very important to enjoy the process.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Instagram is all fine. I will not say that numbers don't matter, but don't let the numbers dictate what you're doing. Do your work because you have fun, and that will automatically translate into people. It'll resonate with people, that you're having fun, so let's partake in her fun
Fun
also.
also.
So that
Lovely.
has to come through. It's very important to totally have fun and enjoy the process, and then the rest will fall in place. Because I've had people asking me this question privately. What can we do to grow our page?
Numbers.
And I have only one or two things to tell them, is that engage with other people. What you expect from others, do for others also. It's a two-way street. I always tell people that on Instagram, it's a two-way street. What you give, you will get. So you have to be engaging in other people's posts also, and give them feedback, positive, and generally create a little bit of a positive environment
Yes. Yes.
where
Yes.
you are, and it'll come back to you. That's all I say.
Beautiful. So on that note, I thank you so much, Deepa, and cheers,
Cheers.
cheers to a wonderful Sunday, and
Absolutely.
all the best for your fantastic journey, and so
Thank
much of
you.
positivity that you shared with us today. So thank you, and thank
Thank
you
you so
all.
much for having me here. And I had the most fun. It was like sitting and talking to you like we normally do. When we get
Yeah.
together, what a bunch of chatterboxes we
Yes.
are. So it was really, really nice.
Thank you so much, and
Thank you.
thank you all for joining, and all those who will be watching the IGTV. And I will see you next Sunday with yet another awesome guest. Thank you, Deepa. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Thank you for
Bye.
joining in.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.